with pride cooking. So I'm facing right this way because I have my camera on one angle, and then right here in front of me is where I'll be preparing everything. We're going to have a cocktail demonstration for you in a little bit. We'll be making a kumquat cocktail. It's like a whiskey sour, but instead of using just lemon as a citrus, we're also using kumquat. So that'll be fun. It's really tasty. I think I need a refill. So actually what I did was I kind of wanted to have a real like Food Network moment where one chicken goes in and another one goes out, but I think the chicken is ready or close to ready. So hopefully you can hear me because this mic is on and this mic is off so we don't have echo. Okay? And hopefully you can see, because my goal is to show you how I take temperature of the chicken. So right now, this is the chicken that I have pulled out of the oven. I think the chicken has come out pretty good. And sorry, you have to look at me from behind. So let me take the temperature, okay? So I'm taking the temperature of the chicken. And let me just say that the recipe is kind of like a mix-up of some recipes from the Barefoot Contessa and also from the San Francisco Chronicle cookbook. And I'll explain to you after I figure out how done this bird is, how we set it up. My husband's going to do the cocktail demonstration and he's going to help me set up the bird. And I have some mashed potatoes going on the fridge. I'm sorry, on the stove.
Bryan took some speed, so he's talking so fast. Just kidding.
Please don't. Okay. Okay, the chicken is not done. It probably needs another 15 minutes, so we're good to go. Let me...
Bryan, I had a question. Michael Lopez is asking if it's a young chicken.
It's a very young chicken. And
just like you like them.
just like I like them. In fact, sometimes Jean-Marie and I will spit roast chicken outside.
That's right. We have a good grill for that.
We have the perfect area to spit roast a chicken. So why don't you, Jean-Marie, show me how we get the bird ready, okay? So what I'm going to do is hopefully there. You can still see me. Good. There, and you can see my face. So kind of what I do is I oil the bottom of the pan. Ooh, we're going to need some more olive oil. Maybe just pull out the big jar of it. We don't have to put it in that. And then I kind of like Papa I kind of make a bed for it. One of the things I do is I take an onion and I cut it into fourths. I don't need that. I need that. Can you do that? Cool. What I do is I slice off a little edge here to make it more stable. Then I cut off the edge here. Cut off the edge here, or end. And I peel off the skin because no one wants to eat the skin. And sometimes it's easier just to peel off a layer of onion. And it's kind of like unwrapping a Christmas gift, except Christmas gifts don't stink or make you cry. Or usually they don't make you cry. I don't know, I've had a few. I cut it into fourths. More or less the same size. Jean-Marie, can you set the timer for 10 minutes? I forgot to do that.
Sure.
Thanks. Then I take my oiled sheet, which I put foil wrap on it to make it easier to clean. And I kind of make a bed like this that I'm going to rest the chicken on. And what I like to do is I like to make a bed of aromatic vegetables. And you'll see what I do with the vegetables after I pull the prepped bird out, okay? But I'm putting some peppers here in the middle, some bell peppers. I put, a couple carrots in there, and I put some celery in there too. That just makes like a good base for the bird to rest on. I also throw in some jalapenos because at the end of roasting, sometimes it's nice to have a roasted jalapeno, but you don't necessarily want that in the gravy, which I'm going to show you how I make gravy from all this, okay? That's ready to go, more or less. I'm going to olive oil it. And I'm going to salt all of the vegetables. I think that's pretty important, salt the vegetables. I'm going to put herb de Provence on there. I buy like a huge jar of it on Amazon, and it's really inexpensive if you buy a huge jar of it on Amazon. So that's my recommendation. Because if you go to like the grocery market super aisle, or if you go to a high-end store, they're actually kind of expensive. Also, the chicken that I bought was like under $8. It's about a 6-pound chicken. And all of these vegetables, like I'm making some mashed potatoes, 5 pounds of mashed potatoes are like $3 at where I shop, like at the grocery outlet. And like a pound of carrots, celery, bags of onions are all really inexpensive, and you can turn them into a lot of different things. So I recommend buying those, especially since we're quarantining right now and we have to like cook a lot more than maybe we're used to. Those are good things to have in the house. Onions, celery, carrots, garlic, lots of garlic. And there we go. So I think what we'll do now is start to dress the bird. And this is where I'll need Jean-Marie's help, because the bird is, you get your hands dirty. So if you have like a housemate or a significant other that can help you dress it while you're handling it, then you don't have to keep on washing your hands so you don't make the salt and pepper shaker dirty and all that stuff. So here's what I try to do. When I buy my chicken, I put it in a bag, try and keep it from dripping in case it drips. And then what I try to do when I take it out of the bag is try to keep the chicken bag inside of the grocery bag so that all the blood and everything that's in the chicken stays in there. Throw that away. Then what you have to do is you have to pull out the giblets, like the kidneys and all that stuff, and put it in the pan. It makes a really good sauce. That's what I do. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start salt, peppering, herbing, seasoning the chicken. So Jean-Marie, if you can wash your hands and then get me bring over the salt, pepper, herbs, that stuff, and help me dress the bird, season the bird. And let's start first with the olive oil over here.
Oh, this is the can of herb de Provence.
It's a nice can, but it's filled with a huge bottle from Amazon. So pour a little on there. A little more. Yeah, there we go. That's fine. So grease your chicken. Get it nice and lubed up. Because we're going to salt this bird. It's going to be very salty. And that's what makes it taste good. So be liberal with the salt, mister. Get it on its legs.
Salt.
Get it on its legs.
This is kosher salt.
Yeah, we're using kosher salt.
It's not as salty as regular iodized
Iodized
salt.
salt. So you could actually put on a little bit more. Okay, that's good. Now do the pepper for me. Okay. Okay. Why don't we salt and pepper the inside too?
Yes. Here we go.
Mm-hmm. Good, thank you. And pepper, lots of pepper, salt, lots of salt in there. In the back.
I didn't put any oil in there.
Okay, put some. You can put a little olive oil in there. Put it on that side, on the breast side. There you go. I think you could use a little more salt, just a little more. Cool. Now put the red pepper flakes, please. Cool. Now let's do the other side. And put salt on the other side, please. And pepper. And the herb de Provence. Oh yeah. And the herb de Provence, and the salt, pepper, yeah. And maybe throw a little more olive oil in there, just a tiny smidge. Perfect, thank you. Good.
There we go.
Go. So your bird should be good to go. You might have to establish your bed of aromatics for it to rest on, but there it's ready to go. The only thing that I'm going to do is wash my hands because I was handling a raw chicken. So I'm just washing my hands right now. You know, washing my hands. So I am done with that. One thing that I like to do is get a bottle of inexpensive wine. I do a lot of the grocery shopping at the grocery outlet. And so you want wine that tastes good but is not excellent. And is that Napa style Herbe de Provence? I think they're actually from Provence, but they're foofy either way. You know, I need here we go. This is what I need. So let's see how this works. I know that like sometimes you cut it off at the top like that. I just unwrap the whole gosh darn thing. Move this out of the way. Cool. 2 minutes on the bird, then I have to check the bird. Now the thing I like about this one is it has 2 teeth right here. See how it's 2 teeth? And that's useful in pulling the cork out. Maybe if I do this, you can kind of see what I mean. See, you start with that one, pull it up, and then this one pulls it up the rest of the way. So what I'm gonna do is, we're lucky enough to have 2 ovens, so I'm gonna put this in the bottom oven. Yeah. Can you get the door for me on the bottom oven? Yeah. No, grab the phone and bring it up. And here's what I do. Here's what I like to do. I'll take it. Okay. So I like to take the wine and pour about half the bottle into the baking sheet. And that helps make a really good gravy, and it helps keep the bird moist while it's cooking because it creates steam in there. And it's worked for me. And then with the other half of the bottle, you can drink it after you're done with your cocktail. Mister, would you like to show them cocktail?
Sure.
Okay, so my husband's going to show you all how to make a cocktail. It is a kumquat cocktail, and instead of a whiskey sour, which would just have lemon, has kumquats. So take it away, mister.
Hi, y'all. So that's what I like to do. I don't like to cook, but I like to make cocktails. So what we like to do is make these ingredients, and what we have right now is we have a lemon tree in the backyard. So we're making cocktails with lemons right now. And one of our neighbors happens to have a kumquat tree, and they're available right now. So we got some fresh from our neighbor, and I will show you. I have never made this cocktail before. It is really, really good. I mean, if you like whiskey sours, it's like that plus. It's really, really good. It's pretty. It's not the most simple cocktail to make, but I'll show you what I do. So first off, I start by getting the juice of one lemon. So this is one of our Meyer lemons. It's really big. They're coming to the end of the season, so they're pretty big right now. So this will probably give me about like 3 ounces of juice. So what I like to do is just use a sieve and extract the juice like this. These make the best cocktails. Otherwise, if you don't have a lemon tree in your backyard, you can always go to Safeway
Or grocery outlet.
and just wear your mask. Make sure you don't lick the door handles when you get there. There you go. So that's my first half. So by the way, I am juicing a whole lemon, a big lemon, and this is gonna make my 2 cocktails. So one for me and one for Bryan. Little comment there, a little D at the grocery outlet. I'll read that later. Cool. Okay, so I should have about 3 ounces. Not quite on this one. I had a bigger. I made a cocktail earlier and it was a little bit bigger. So I have almost 3 ounces of lemon juice. And what I want to add to this is, well, actually, I will do that right now. So I will add 1.5 ounces of simple syrup. So simple syrup, it's super easy to make. If you don't have it, it's just 1 part of sugar and 1 part water, and you boil it until the sugar dissolves in the water, and then you have simple syrup. So it's super easy to make. So let me add 1.5. And okay, and then here comes the kumquat part. So this is a kumquat. It's where did I get the reamer? The reamer? I don't know. We've had this for so long. I don't know. So
We probably had to go to like a special
maybe throw it out. I don't know. We have an electric one as well that we use when we have parties and make a lot of cocktails. But for 1 or 2 cocktails a night, we just use this one. So this is a kumquat. It's pretty small, and it looks, it looks like a little, like orange, but very small. So what you do is you just like slice it thinly. We're going to be crushing this using a hand blender, and you just get rid of the seeds here. It's got little seeds. Cool. And you use 3 of them, and I've already prepared, being like Martha Stewart here. So I have my 2 here, and then I'm just going to add the one I just did. So I have 3 kumquats. So what I do is I will use a big mug here because I'm going to use my hand blender, and I don't want everything to splash around. So I'm just going to add my lemon juice and simple syrup mixture. I add that here, and then I throw in my kumquats sliced thinly. And then, this is where I take the big gun here. This is a hand blender. I suppose you could use just a regular blender, but this will turn. You want to go like, maybe like 40, 50 seconds. this mixture is, I will just give a little taste. Try this one. Yeah, actually, Netflix owns the rights to this, by the way. Just kidding. This mixture is amazing. It's like out of this world. I mean, this is probably one of those dangerous cocktails where you can probably eat or drink a few or several and not realize what's going on. Okay, so now I guess I will move on to the assembly part. So I need some ice. So I will put some ice in my cup here. Okay, so I put some ice in my shaker. So what I want to do, so the proportions here, so I will make one cocktail at a time, but I have enough mixture here to make two. So I'll start with one. So I'll just put it in my measuring, I'll just put it in my measuring cup here because it has a little spout. It's easier to pour. So I want 2 ounces, so 2 ounces of my mixture here. I'll put that in the shaker. And then I want 1.5 ounces of your favorite bourbon. In this case, I'm using Bullet.
Can you put
bourbon.
2?
Okay, so Brian wants 2, so I will just put 2. So feel free to spike it a little bit more. There we go. And there we go. So now it's just a matter of shaking. This is really important. This whole dance here is what makes the cocktail. All right, cool. So there we go. One yummy kumquat cocktail coming up for Brian. And this is how you make it. Enjoy. Here you go, Brian.
Can you use, thank you, mister, can you use rye or bourbon? Yes. I prefer a whiskey sour with rye, but you can use bourbon. It's like whatever your preference is. There you go. So let me check the bird again. Also, there's the mashed potatoes are ready.
I will now make myself a cocktail.
So I'm gonna try and bring my phone with me as I mash the potatoes. Hopefully this works well, you know. So here's what I do to keep one trick that I like to do to keep myself from burning myself on a hot handle is put an oven mitt on it, okay? And for the mashed potatoes, there's about 5, 6 potatoes in there. I'm gonna start with like half a brick of butter. And then I'm not going to add too much salt. What was that question? Shoot, I missed it. Does the cooking demo include a tasting with the registration fee? No. You're going to have to do this yourself. Post-COVID, come on over, Michael. Michael's our friend. Or grab some to go. I made 2 chickens. hopefully you can hear me out there. But so now I'm just mashing the potatoes old school. And I'm kind of concerned about the chicken, so I'm going to check in on the chicken because I don't want to overcook the chicken. So give me a second, I'm going to check on the chicken. I think the chicken is ready. So they say if it's 165, at least one. Now. Oh, there we go. It's almost at 165. I think it's good. I think it's good. So I'm going to let it rest, and I'm going to let it catch up to temperature, because it will catch up to temperature. And I'm going to continue making the mashed potatoes. Then what I'll do is I'll transfer the chicken over to the island, and I'll cut it up for you, butcher it for you. Are there any questions out there? How are you guys, what do you guys do this time when we're at home quarantine? So essentially adding the wine to the pan and the chicken is creating a bain-marie. That's a Jean-Marie. It was actually my idea, Oliver Contessa, but yeah, I did this kind of creating a bain-marie. But that's a tip from the San Francisco Chronicle cookbook. And when I'm going to butcher the chicken, but then also I'm going to puree most of the vegetables. And the vegetables create a gravy that you don't have to cook down. Those are the mashed potatoes. Okay, so Jean-Marie, we can see you on the laptop.
I know. Slowly can turn it off.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the questions.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, let me know if there's any questions out there.
Oh, last one was what kind of potatoes are you using?
Russet potatoes. I'm using russet potatoes. Are there any other questions prior to that one?
Let's see. Huh. Jason's never made mashed potatoes before.
Oh, wow. Jason who?
So Tara's saying, can you post the measurements later, please?
Sure, absolutely. And Tara, I've made a lot of roast chickens, and I host my dad's family. There's about 20 of us when all the cousins come up. And I make the turkey breast and the tri-tip. So a lot of what I do now is eyeballing it. But yeah, definitely, I can post them what I used here. So let's try and get this bird cut up. And you know what you could do now? Let's get the bird cut up first. Then we'll make the gravy. Is there anything else popping up, or some earlier comments or questions or curiosity out there?
Matthew was saying that he likes to put sour cream and tons of garlic in his mashed potatoes.
Absolutely, that's a great idea. And you know what else I do sometimes, Matt, if I'm less like in a hurry? I like to roast garlic. I like to roast garlic at the same time I'm roasting the bird, and then smush the roasted garlic into the mashed potatoes. I've done that before, and that's really good too. That with sour cream would be amazing. Okay.
Oh, hey, Gabriel. That's nice to see you.
Oh, Gabrielle Mata. Gabrielle, you're visiting. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So good to see you. Yeah, this bird usually comes out pretty good. Okay. So now I'm going to butcher the bird, and I'm going to put it on a platter.
Oh, so Michael's asking if you ever put herbs and lemon in the chicken cavity.
You know what? That's a good question. I did in this. I pulled out and there, and then I put herbs underneath the chicken too, so that it gives flavor to the gravy sauce that is cooking. So yes, that's a good question. Always put herbs, celery, whatever inside, and then when you carve it up, freeze your carcass and leave all that stuff inside because it makes a really good stock. What am I going to do? I'm going to cut it. First, I'm going to cut away the Okay, so it's a little warm. Got to be careful. Let me start on this side. So I kind of cut along. Wow, this is very tender. And there's probably going to be a fair amount of juice that comes pouring out. Hey, Jean-Marie, can you grab this big one, this big cutting board for me? And let's put it there. Thank you. Now that the bird's cooked, it's juicy and it's starting to release all its juices. What I've seen people do, and my dad was a butcher, by the way, so he would probably, what wine do you like with this roast chicken? Sauvignon Blanc is fine, or Chardonnay. I like Chardonnay. The Chardonnay goes well with the lemons, actually, depending on what kind of Chardonnay you buy, but there we go. I'm almost there. There we go. See that the platter up there, Jean-Marie, the big platter, you know, the big white platter. You'll probably have to pull the stuff out first, and then pull the white platter out. So that's how I do it. Kind of what you do is you fish around the bird, and you kind of cut on top. And then after you've kind of cut the skin loose, you are able to cut it from the hip joint. See how there's kind of like a hip joint in there? You want to cut it loose from the hip joint. This is half the entertainment, I'm sure, watching someone try to turbo. There you go. Can you bring a flap to me? I'm going to put this over there. There we go. There we go. I found it. Ooh, there we go. I think I'm having performance anxiety in front of the camera. It's usually a little bit easier than that. But, oh well. Now let's go for the, thank you, mister. Let's go for the wings, okay? There we go. Okay. Ah, it broke.
Scott is saying you look so serious.
Sorry, I want it to be perfect for you guys. And we're kind of family, right? So don't mind my hands, they're clean.
Michael's asking, how do you use the leftover chicken?
How do I use the leftover chicken? So what I like to do is I like to start with the dark meat first, because usually how I like to eat the breast, assuming it's just the two of us, usually how I like to eat the breast is put it in a sandwich, put it in a salad. I've made Japanese curry and added that to Japanese curry, like use half a brick of Japanese curry, make half a recipe. Put it in enchiladas if you want enchiladas. Put it in tacos, put it in flautas, put it in whatever. Make fajitas. Grill up some, you know, some, what's that called? Some bell peppers and onions and some jalapenos, and then slice all that up. And, you know, heat up some tortillas, and you have like fajitas, like Mexican style fajitas, or Mexican restaurant style fajitas, whatever. But yeah, that's. So Butch. Well,
Butch home chef.
I know, right? Okay, so now the breast is kind of warm, so I'm going to actually have to use the tongs to help me handle the breast, because it is warm and it's just too warm for my fingers because it's part of the carcass. So there is one breast. That's a big breast. This was a fat chicken.
Bryan likes really big breasts.
These are the only kind of breasts I like. I mean, I like seeing them on other people who have them, and I think they're beautiful, but these are the only breasts I want to play with. And everyone out there with breasts breathes a huge sigh of relief, I'm sure. Oh my gosh, my dad would be so disappointed at my butchering skills. But apart from like letting me pull skins off skirt steaks and play with things that wouldn't ruin anything, I didn't really learn very much about butchering from him when I was young. So, but I love meat and I love to cook. And one of the weird things I would say about quarantine is I've been cooking a lot more than I have ever cooked in my whole life. And it's kind of fun. I wish we weren't forced to cook and be home, but the cooking is fun. And planning, you know, trying to keep visits to the supermarket down to once a week. Planning for a week worth of food is fun and challenging. And then, you know, we're able to, so we give up a couple nights and don't cook and order out. You know, it's good to support our local restaurants and restaurants that are small and owned by someone we know. I like to support those kind of restaurants. So does Jean-Marie. So I think what I'll do is, because these breasts are kind of big, I'll cut them in thirds. because that's almost a portion right there, a third of a breast. So then, what's open?
We've got people rooting for breasts.
Yay! I love breasts. I don't want to pay with them myself, but
Specifically, Hannah is rooting for breasts.
yay, Hannah! Root for breasts. Power to the breasts. Power to people who have them. Some of them are my best friends and my most cherished individuals. And interestingly enough, I'm like in my mid-40s. The people kindest to me when people weren't kind to us, like in the 80s and 90s when I was growing up, were women or people with breasts. They were the people who stood up for me in school and gave me shots when I was looking for a part-time job or a real job. So let's be feminists and support the women in our lives and the women we work with. What else? Oh, so what I want to do is I want to stick the carcass in the bag, and I want to freeze it, and I want to do that now.
Martin likes it. We want some. He's in Sunnyvale.
That's a little far for delivery. Oh gosh. My neighbors are going to be happy, I think, because I'm going to have to share. So I'm going to freeze that. So now I think we have time to make the gravy. Can you bring the phone over here, maybe?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to catch this potential disaster, but see,
All the good juices going there. That's good.
and I will that there. And, hi. My hands are pretty clean. I've only been handling the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. There we go. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to, hopefully, let's pull this back in a little bit. There's a good, there we go. I want you to look at the chicken if you want to. So here's what I like to do with, see the leftover stuff from cooking. I'm not going to use the herbs. This was a bed of herbs that I put underneath the chicken that you didn't see with the first. You didn't see this with the first chicken, but I put herbs underneath the carcass of the chicken after we seasoned it and put it in the fridge or the oven. So these I'm not going to blend because they won't blend well. They won't taste good. So I'm going to throw that away. What else won't I blend? I won't blend the jalapenos because that could be a little bit spicy depending on the jalapeno. And so I like to pull those out, and I just like to eat those afterwards. Like, so as your guests can control the amount of heat that they consume. And then let's put in the veggies. So see how the onions just kind of melt into mushy goodness. Let me remove more stuff I'm not going to cook or blend. I won't blend the celery either because it's stringy and fibrous. I put some bell peppers there, so I'm going to put the bell peppers in there. One thing I forgot to add is garlic, and I like to put garlic in there because that makes a really good sauce as well. And the carrots, I will save the carrots to eat. hot at this point. This is how you know I'm not a professional chef, right? There we go. I tripped the outlet. Usually when I'm not under pressure, I can coordinate the timing of this better, but I didn't. That's good. That's really good. It's a chunky gravy, but it's nice and easy and simple. And I suppose if I wanted to have more sauce, I could have used more of the wine in there. And maybe I could have blended a carrot in there, but not necessary. And then I just serve the gravy in a dish like that. It's like really, really, really good. And let me show you the mashed potatoes and the gravy. And basically, this is really just to get the grease off my hands and less to disinfect them. I've only been handling cooked things. Basically there is, we'll do it like this. And you could do a shot like that with the phone. Good. So, and then can you take a shot above of the mashed potatoes? So mashed potatoes, about 6, fist-sized mashed potatoes, gravy, and roasted chicken.
And that's dinner tonight.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! This look at that fell off the bone. So good. So good.
Just like Martha Stewart. Amazing.
So good. Are there any questions?
Someone was asking if you could use the chicken giblets in the stuffing as well, or is that just a thing to use when cooking turkey instead of chicken?
You can use the chicken. So I don't make stuffing, but a lot of people like to roast the giblets of the turkey or the chicken, and then like my grandmother loved stuffing. She would chop that up and put it in the stuffing. And she almost always used stovetop stuffing, but she'd still, after she roasted the giblets with the chicken, would chop them up and throw them in there. So absolutely. You can roast them or you can use them in the stuffing, whatever. Any other questions? Any other questions? What are you all eating for dinner? We're thinking about doing this again next week. The weather might be nice. Is the gravy freezer friendly if you wanted to use it later? Yes, it is freezer friendly if you wanted to use it later. And this gravy is like bomb for a soup mix. Like let's say we got through most of the chicken. If you live with 2 or 3 people, you might get through the chicken itself in a couple days. And sometimes you have gravy left over, and sometimes you have mashed potatoes left over, especially if you make a lot. What I like to do is when I boil the carcass of the chicken with like some additional onions and garlic and carrots, whatnot, when the broth is ready, after you take out all the extra vegetables and the carcass and stuff, when it's just the broth itself, throw in any leftover gravy and any leftover mashed potatoes, because that makes a creamy soup, But yeah, the gravy is definitely freezer friendly. And I like it because you don't have to cook it on the stove if you don't want to. At this point, I'd probably need to microwave it or stick it in a saucepan because it, got too cold. But usually if I don't have the pressure of a camera, more on time.
Cool. To eat.
Yeah, it's time to eat. Maybe what we could do in 2 weeks from now, since it's nice, we could grill some meat. I'll look and see what's on special at Grocery Outlet. It might be tri-tip. It might be flat meat, flank steak, like arrachera in Spanish. But maybe we can grill some meat or some sausages. Would that sound like fun? Would you like to have maybe a grill in 2 weeks? This was awesome. Looking forward to more. If you're looking for an additional guest chef for the section, I would love to nominate someone here. Thanks, Lindsay. Why don't you private message us to info@svpride.com or go to our Facebook page and message us on Facebook. Maybe we could do a Zoom cook or cook someone's recipe or whatever. Or someone could Zoom in and give us their favorite cocktail, perhaps. That would be fun. My husband made homemade corn tortillas today, so we are making shredded pork cooked with tomatoes and jalapeno. That sounds delicious, Martine. That sounds delicious. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And you know what? If you have leftover chicken, throw them in some handmade corn tortillas and have chicken tacos. Oh my God, that'd be delicious. Cool. Thanks, Michael. Thanks for participating, everyone. And I look forward to cooking with you again in 2 weeks and a different cocktail or wine recommendation or whatever. Okay? Cheers, guys. Stay safe. Be well. Wash your hands. I made twice-baked potatoes tonight. They're simple and yummy. Twice-baked potatoes are really good. I'm lazy. I've never really made them, but I love it when my friends make them for me. And a good side dish with the chicken. Cool. Any other interesting recipes out there? Okay, I'm going to say goodbye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, darling, for participating. Thank you, everyone, for participating. Stay safe, be well, wash your hands, be kind to each other. And say goodbye, Jean-Marie. Bye.
Bye. Oh.
Bye.